there's so much here to go off on tangents about that I'm finding it difficult to concentrate on anything. But let's just say that I'll pick one. The situation with the idea that the Republican Party is a mass of contradictions. Did you notice what happened in the most recent Republican debate? They didn't ask any questions about health care. CNN basically said, okay, let's just throw some red meat into the ring and see what happens. So, it was all the so-called Republican issues. Now, on the other side of it, you get I don't know if you heard the NPR debate with the Democrats. I thought that was amazingly detailed. I learned more about not only the positions of the various candidates, but more about the issues in general from that debate. And what was really interesting is that, and it's not just about the fact that Edwards has got nice hair, and that sort of stuns the listener into paying attention on video, but he did not come across very well, in my opinion, on the audio debate, because he didn't answer questions that he was asked. He, you could feel and see him shift the answer from what the question was to what his position is. And by contrast, Hillary is massively prepared, so she came across great, and so did Obama, because Obama is very clear in what he says. You can call it, glossy. I don't think it's glossy. I think it's something that people resonate with. They sense that the guy has thought about the answer to the question, and he delivers the answer, and it kind of makes sense. And interestingly, if you compare it to the entire Clinton machine having come up with an answer, they're very similar. So I think that redounds to Obama's benefit. I think it redounds to, I still think Giuliani has, for all of his difficulties on the so-called personal side, I think he's the candidate to beat. And I think that Huckabee, as I think we both agree, first of all, if he can kill off Romney, that will be wonderful. He forced Romney out of his cover and into a JFK "I'm not a Catholic" speech, 6 months before Kennedy did. I mean, as they pointed out in numerous places, Kennedy did the "I'm not a Catholic." He also did the "I'm not really a religious guy either, but I certainly, am a God-fearing person." But he did it like 2 months or a month before the election, not a month before the first primary or the caucuses. So, I think Huckabee has Romney on the ropes. And I think the old guard in the Republican Party, Pat Buchanan, people like that, are trying to run him up the flagpole, Romney up the flagpole, as being, the one who is surfacing in the Giuliani's on a downturn. I don't think Giuliani's on a downturn at all. I think people are going to viscerally compare all of these guys, and Giuliani's going to come out ahead. So I don't see a lot of churn in the Republican Party.
What do you mean churn?
I don't see a lot of movement in any direction except Romney being forced out of his...
but Giuliani has got so much bad press.
Yeah, but this is your thesis of this entire conversation is that somehow it's all the media's fault, and that what we're doing and seeing here...
No, I didn't say it was the media's fault. All I'm saying is that Giuliani is looking a weaker and weaker candidate.
Are you sure?
He's being exposed to various kinds of frauds, to the kinds of people he surrounds himself with, his relationship with his third wife, to the way they spend their money. And he's looking worse and worse. I mean,
what about Reagan?
Whatever one says about either Obama or Clinton, there have been no especially Obama, there's been no scandals associated with him. I mean, he is. I'm sure there are people trying to, figure out what he's done wrong, who he's associated with. What?
Who?
Obama. And even Clinton, I mean, apart from the guy who was investing in her campaign who turned out to be a crook, there have been no new revelations. I mean, there have been a series of new revelations about Giuliani, about his personal morality, the kind of people he associates with, which are very damaging for a candidate in either party. I mean, Huckabee doesn't have that. I think that's Huckabee's value over Giuliani. I mean, the critique against Huckabee is that he raised taxes. What?
Huckabee's not damaging Giuliani. He's ripping the soul out of, or the fake soul out of Romney. He's gonna, if Romney doesn't win in Iowa, the $30 million that he spent or whatever it is just gonna go. It's poof.
But I think what's happened with Huckabee is that he's obviously taking votes from Romney, but I think the person he's mostly taking votes from is Thompson, because I think Thompson has proved to be a failure. I think the Conservatives were waiting for Thompson. He came into the race, and he's proved to be, again, a bit of a clown, someone not really committed. He never caught fire, and I think they've given up on him, and they're figuring out, well, who are we going to support now? And Huckabee is their guy.
Well, I think that the voters guy in Iowa is Huckabee. He's got a nice 28%, Christian stronghold there that's going to do just fine. And as much as Hillary's negatives aren't going to go down, his positives aren't going to go down either. I mean, he's in a very strong position for Iowa. But the real race is in the 4 or 5 days from Iowa to New Hampshire. And the people that are trying to say that McCain is a good man and that he's actually performed almost as well as anybody, including Huckabee, in the most recent debates, augurs for him showing some strength. But who is that really going to hurt? It's going to hurt the guy with the hair, Romney.
Yeah, I think the Romney bubble has burst, but you have to assume as well that Republicans in these primaries are voting strategically. They're not just voting for the guy they like the most, who makes them the most comfortable. And at a certain point, a week or two before this thing, they're going to start thinking, well, our vote is really strategically important. It's going to shape the election, and what do we really want to do here? We've got to find a candidate who's viable.
Right. So they're gonna say, let's see, I'm not going to vote for a guy who believes in a religion where some guy in a parking lot got the revised Bible dropped in.
That's the American religion, by the way.
Is it?
But anyway,
no. Expand on that.
Well, it's an Americanized version of Christianity.
So, what was the English religion that Henry V?
Henry V?
Or whatever it was, who populated in order to get around not being able to get a divorce.
We never had your kind of confidence in terms of centering our religion in our own country.
I see. So, thanks for that little interlude, but, back to the point. When the gut check time comes, first of all, I think the gut check time on the Republican side's already happened. That's why Huckabee's leading.
Yeah, but why is that a gut check? That's a purely negative reaction against a guy who's not credible. But what are these people thinking? Who eventually is going to become their candidate? Giuliani. It's one thing to vote for a guy who's, as I said, who appears well on television, who has a nice sense of humor. But they're actually supposed to be electing a president.
He stood up to the mob, blah, blah, blah. And, who,
Giuliani?
In the abstract, it's like, when, Microsoft, dominated technology. It was helped by the fact that everybody else were idiots. Do you follow me?
Are you comparing Microsoft to Huckabee?
I'm saying that this is not the presidential campaign and the contest, both in the general election and in the primaries, is not about who's the best guy. It's about who's the least worst guy.